Good morning. I say, hey, my name is Shaun. I got a strange little memory now that every time I say, hey, I want to say we're the monkeys, but that just says I'm old, I think. But good morning, Shaun Boyce. This is 10 minutes of tennis with Justin Yeo, world-renowned tennis coach, Australian in Puerto Rico. And we are talking about calm tennis versus panic tennis. And I asked Justin earlier, I said, is this as obvious as it sounds? And he says, yes, but. So, Justin, I want to ask that yes, but question. It's pretty obvious we want to be calm versus panicky. Yep. But you say there's a happy medium. What are we looking at there?
Well, your happy medium is you still have to be intense, still have to be competitive. All those little things create, some chemistry in the body and emotions, and so calm. The whole concept of calm is to keep you elastic and making sure you get advantages of keeping a smart mind and thinking about things properly versus panicking. And like I said to you before, sometimes when people panic, the survival mode kicks in, and all of a sudden they actually find another zone. But really, realistically, you can only stay in that zone for so long. We talk to players a lot about, playing not to lose and playing to win. You're playing not to lose most of the times because you're panicking. If you're calm, you can start to find ways of playing to win. And calm is just controlling the breathing, managing time between points and managing time between change of ends. Having a good look at your opponent. I mean, I don't know how many times I have to point out Rafael Nadal staring at his opponent to see, is he wearing down? Is he nervous? Is there things going on? If you're not calm, you can't see this stuff. You're too in your own self. You're too in your own internal stuff. And so sometimes the messages are right there if you can't. If you panic, you can get away with some stuff, but I wouldn't say if you really look at the winners versus the people say we're not supposed to say losers, the one who got second place, but you see the difference. Usually, it is a hard way to look at calm because of the intense level of the game. But they're calm here because they're focused at what they do. And if you listen to a lot of Novak Djokovic's latest podcasts and interviews, he talks a lot about his mindset coming into the match, during change of ends, going to the restroom and coming back out. He talks a lot about where he is here. And so that's sort of what I would talk about, being calm versus panic.
And it makes me think of one of our fitness tips that we have on the Atlanta Tennis Podcast is by Coach Jovi, my wife, who talks about that changeover mindset and being calm on the changeovers. And she notices Novak, and she notices him with that big deep breath and then just that sitting there, unless he takes a few minutes and he decides he's going to chew out Goran Ivanisevic in the box for some reason. But by the time he walks back up there, he goes right back to work because he's had that calm. And I compare a little bit of the calm. I wanted to say the calm before the storm, but that's not really what it is, because it's all got to be in there where you're externally fighting. There's so many references I want to bring up, but the one I'll bring up this time is what my brother says to me sometimes when we're performing and we're singing and we're on stage and we're saying, okay, I need to be able to sing quietly, but that quiet doesn't need to be calm. It doesn't need to be relaxed. It needs to be intense. And he brings up Michael Jackson, and he's got that sound where Michael Jackson just has that at the end of what he's doing, because he's singing in a way that it's so soft and draws you in, but there's so much energy behind it. There's a storm under there. That there's a calmness, but there's also that intensity. Is that what you're going for?
That's a brilliant analogy, is Michael Jackson. I mean, that guy can be, so here, but just, I was just thinking, I was just trying to write things down because, this is not an easy subject, I guess, and that's not too many people talk about it, but I quickly wrote down 5 tips for everyone If they're listening right now, got pen and paper, or just come back to the podcast and listen to it again, click like, click forward, push it out
Like,
to everybody,
share, and subscribe.
because these are probably the easiest tips to make sure you stay calm on a tennis court. And that would be number one, breathe. Like, focus on your breath. You just mentioned it with Djokovic. Okay. Second one is your posture. Are you bent over? Are you tense? Are you grabbing the racket too tight? Like, there's posture is a huge thing. I talk to the kids all the time. You need to walk like a winner. You don't walk like it, you're literally, everything's going to come downwards, especially, emotions and positivity. So that brings me to number three.
Hang on,
positive.
Justin. Sorry to interrupt. Number two, posture. Is that the same as body language, or is it different anyway? It does mean body language.
Body composure is everything, and
gotcha.
posture is a big part of that. Understanding, because your shoulder blades can be like, everything rolls over, so you're not really effectively hitting the tennis ball, or you're causing injury hitting a serve. Like, there's all things that can happen from posture. Posture also helps you feel more positive, and that's my third one, is positive affirmation. If there's a whole bunch of negative going on in your head and you're talking a lot of smack, start trying to turn it around. Every time there's a no, there's a yes. Every time something says crap, then say good. Something like that. Just come up with things that are always opposite words, positive affirmations, to try to get the thing rolling. Number four is tactical thoughts. Most people are so into themselves, which is either technique or emotion or whatever. Sometimes thinking tactically can take your mind off all that stuff and start saying, okay, this is what I got to do to beat this guy or this girl, And then the last one is, just with that tactical thought, just don't get too into it. Like, think about your tool bag. Am I using all my tools? And what other tool could I use today? Or change your tools? Or am I hurting their tools? Start thinking about within your range. Don't go outside your range. And I say this all the time. It's so easy. 3 dimensions: forward and back, up and down, side to side. Start thinking about how it hurts them. It's amazing how many balls we hit back to the player versus using the court, or using the dimensions. Like, they don't like it here, they don't like it here. And then start sticking to it. I mean, it takes discipline to stick to it as well.
So in that case, the tactical thoughts is a little bit, makes me think of sticking with the plan, which takes me back to plan A versus plan B. And is there a plan C episode we did on 10 minutes of tennis, and Absolutely. Say, okay, am I still in plan A? I'm focused on that. And one of the psychological things I learned is, humans, we like to think we can multitask, which means I can think about one thing while not falling over and walking, meaning I can do 2 things at once, but I can't really think 2 thoughts at once. That just doesn't exist. So the one thing in my mind is either positive or negative. It's either tactical, which you call external, or internal, which is, oh my God, I suck right now. So if I can stick with the plan, if I believe that, say, you know what, I need to focus on what I'm supposed to be doing right now, that can help keep me calm. And by the time I get over there to have to hit that passing shot on the last ball, maybe I don't panic and hit a bailout shot, as we would say, but I stay calm and I make him hit one more volley so I can potentially hit an aggressive shot, but stay in the point. There's a calmness because I'm focused on that positive concept of tactical strategy.
Right. Well, you're giving yourself more chances of doing that. Of course, everybody likes to win, and some people just, without winning, they're, total panics. But you have to understand the game is about ratios, it's about numbers, and you win some, you lose some. And I think if you stick to a plan and you go for it and you lose, you at least at the end of the match you can grow from it, learn from it, move on to the next match, and try to keep working on things because you understood and absorbed it. If you're in panic, you don't absorb anything. You don't learn, you don't grow. You just keep doing the same thing over and over again. And you keep probably finding you'll lose all by the same mistakes. So, I would suggest try to be calm as possible and planning is a good one for you. You know, like you said, just stick to, and each change of ends can be something different, you know. But once you find something that works, don't come off it until you have to, you know. But look for it, because I guarantee you, if you can't, you'll start seeing things more than what you really should be doing. You know?
I like that. We'll put the 5 tips in the show notes at some point on the podcast. And the question isn't, is panic tennis better or worse than calm tennis? We all know what it is, but we want that happy medium. And we've got some tips for you as to how you can stay calm while still being intense. And we can all be Michael Jackson on the tennis court. I like it a lot. Justin Yo, thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
See you, mate. Cheers.